Hey team, Corey here. Okay, in this video, I'm going to go over actually quite a few things. Probably get a notepad and pen or note this down in your computer or your phone because you're going to want to remember it. There's a few things that we are going over today that is mostly actually to do with the game launch and the cost of breeding. So, as many of you probably do know, for the first 2 weeks, we actually have a breeding event, which essentially means that you don't need to use VIS for breeding. However, of course, we did decide to release a preliminary table, which was, I guess, probably a little bit too early to release, and it had the cost at 500 PGX. Now, the reason we did launch the token first is actually because we wanted to get a bit of, I guess, price action, let the token find where it's going to sit, around what price, and then we can obviously make predictions of where it's going to go in the future, given demand around the launch of the game. So, what we've actually decided to do, as you probably see in the white paper or floating around, it was 500 PGX, as I said, per breed. We're actually going to reduce that. Now, at launch, we're going to be reducing that to 50 PGX per breed. Now, there's a lot of maths that does have to go into it for you guys. However, again, just note this is for the 2-week breeding event. I'll explain why we're actually having that 2-week breeding event and some of the chain reactions that may be caused because of that 2-week breeding event. However, yes, moving forward, on November the 15th, you guys will be actually breeding with 50 PGX per breed. Now, it doesn't matter what your bloodline is, what your breed type is. Just note every single breed minimum is 50 PGX. Now that's good news for some of you, and some of you weren't even buying until you knew that news. However, yes, moving forward, again, I will stress it, 50 PGX per breed. That will change. I'll just note it right here, right now. That will change likely after that 2-week breeding event. I want to touch on why we're having that 2-week breeding event and really how VIS works, because some of you may not actually be aware of why we're doing this breeding event. So if you can imagine the way that our ecosystem works, the way that the mechanics work, we have a 15-day period essentially where VIS is claimable every 15 days from essentially when you join the game or when you did your first race. So as you could imagine, for the first 2 weeks of the game, there's no VIS generated. VIS doesn't exist. It's not minted yet. It's not in circulation. So of course, we can't ask you guys to breed and pay VIS when you can't get it yet. So our solution to that, to allow you guys to really kickstart, to get ahead, and really more like an early adopters bonus, is to give you that 2-week breeding event where you don't actually require VIS token to breed. You may also be asking, why don't we just pre-mint it or pre-mine it or whatever you would call it? The reason we don't want to do that is because we want to make sure the game is fair moving forward. This token is going to always be a proof of work token. That means if it exists, someone has played in the game. Every single VIS minted is proof that someone actually played the game and placed in the top 3. And we think that's quite powerful. So we don't want to go and rig it just to allow you guys to, trade in some pools online. We just want to make sure that this game at its core is done correctly from day one, and that's the reason we're doing it. And before going further and explaining a couple other things, I really want to stress it. I've said it I've tried to say it in almost every single video that I've done, in all of the AMAs as well. Where do the breeding fees for the platform go? And what's the difference between the two tokens? Of course, once we've completed that breeding event where it's PGX and VIS, on the 15th day, that's when it will switch. So you've got about 14, probably 14 and a half to roughly 15 days of just PGX breeding. And then on the 15th day, we will initiate VIS plus PGX breeding. So it'll be similar to the formula that you do see in the white paper. Now, again, relating back to the fees, where do they go? So VIS is the one that always gets burnt when spent. It's minted when players play, and it's burnt. It doesn't come to us or a treasury. It goes straight to essentially like a burning wallet. It is essentially just disappears. So it gets completely burnt and it's only minted when you guys are playing. So similar to other utility tokens in the, I guess, the play to earn space like SLP. Now PGX, That's the governance token. We don't burn any of those. It has a limited supply, so there's only 1 billion. those fees actually for the first year, I would say it's probably going to end up being less than the first year, but I'll give it for the first year, is going to come to the studio, Pegaxy. Now in the future, what we will be integrating is the community treasury, which is moving our way towards, I guess, community governance or community voting, so that they can dictate more so the direction of the game over just a centralized person like our company. So moving towards that in the future is our goal, but at the start we want to make sure us as a studio, we have the funding required to actually bring you guys not just a good game, but a great game and a long-term game. We don't want people coming along that are just going to invest $150,000 and then realize that us as a company, we need to keep doing private raises or selling equity or something like that, bringing in more parties just so this game can grow. When there's more external parties, more parties involved, development is a lot slower. We want to make sure, obviously being in the crypto space, development is extremely fast. We can make decisions fast. And once we're at the point where we feel that it is a very, very, very solid foundation and you guys are quite satisfied, that's when we're going to bring in that treasury. Once that treasury is in place, the whole ecosystem will generally change. Now, a lot of you will be wondering, once we obviously acquire a lot of PGX tokens, we may need to sell them to create revenue. Please note that on the marketplace as well, we provide the option of PGX, Matic, or USDT for sales. We have a 3% fee on that marketplace. The reason that we accepted Matic and USDT, you guys get the option to accept either of those when you're selling, and then the 3% fee actually comes to the studio. The reason we did that is to make sure that we have a revenue that we're able to sell and not apply selling pressure onto PGX. Really, that's just to safeguard your guys', investment or what you predict in the future is going to happen to PGX, because we don't want to apply extremely heavy selling pressure just to keep our company around. We believe if we build a good game, a lot of secondary marketplace trading will take place, and the USDT and the Matic supplements will be perfect for us to be able to function. In the future, if the treasury is implemented and we don't need to do anything with that PGX, we will simply just put that PGX into the treasury. I guess give the treasury a bit of a kickstart as well. So you guys will of course know exactly where that revenue is going. You'll be able to see it all, and likely it's going to be tracked. So if we do sell PGX, you will be able to see that. But going forward, to be honest with you guys, it's likely we don't have plans. Selling Matic and selling USDT, which has far higher volume, is going to have much less effect, or basically no effect, on the ecosystem and allow PGX to thrive. Now there's something here that I really want to mention to you guys, and we don't want to really catch you off guard or wonder why we're doing it. I need to explain this very clearly to you. We have a team fund of 500 Pega. Now the reason the team isn't getting this from day one so that they can play and breed and be a part of it all is actually because at the start of the game we need to make sure that there is essentially enough people in these lobbies for you guys to play. It's a new game. As you guys can understand, these Pega, there's not many. There's probably going to be a decent amount of people wanting to catch a lobby every now and again. We're actually going to have those Pega there to be able to race for you guys. Now, of course, as the game launches, it is RNG based, which is random number generator, essentially as random as it gets. We will be doing it about 100% random, the results. So it doesn't matter the bloodline, the mint number, none of that stuff matters. None of your attributes matters. Essentially, it's RNG. The reason we do that is to create fairness across the entire board. Also, that means we can integrate those Pega into the lobbies, allow you guys to get much faster matchmaking. There's actually another reason for that as well. Because of VIS, for those 15 days, I should note that you guys are actually earning VIS when you race, but as I said, you can't claim it until that 15th day. So you're earning, and on that 15th day, the supply of VIS increases. But if you wanted to trade it or sell it, there needs to be a pool or some form of liquidity on an exchange, similar to what we did with the PGX token when we launched it on Kyber DMM. Essentially, what we're going to be doing with those Pega is whatever they earn through the RNG, they may earn good, they may not earn that good. However, whatever is earned from those Pega, we're actually going to create a liquidity pool for you guys just to enable you to have far secure and better liquidity essentially for VIS tokens. Now, of course, as more liquidity does come in with you guys buying and selling and the opportunity to stake, it's going to obviously look after itself. It's likely those Pegas will be integrated into the game, obviously for one, to provide more lobbies, but two, just to make sure that there is a bit of a VIS pool that you guys can trade with. Again, the more players, the more races being done, the more VIS being generated, that will soon wean out, and we'll probably let you guys know. I'm assuming those Pega will be only integrated for about a month or a month and a half, and then the ecosystem will be functioning quite well. And then what will happen is that essentially we will just distribute to the team. Of course, internal team will just get a couple Pegas each. Then they're able to go and play the game as a normal player as well. We just wanted to be completely transparent with that so that you don't get any surprises or think we're doing it for some other reason. We just wanted to make it clear that we're trying to do it for the benefit of the ecosystem and really actually act as players and do the same system that you guys are doing. You know, anyone else can do the exact same thing as well. If you guys are breeding 500 Pega or 1,000 Pega, it's being raced, and you take that VIS that you're earning and put it into a liquidity pool, you can of course earn from that as well. However, we just thought we would go ahead and do it ourselves, just so none of you guys have to really, I guess, stake or put away that VIS if you did want to trade it. And then finally, we did mention this one recently. However, we have locked our LP tokens, which is the liquidity pool tokens for that PGX and USDT pool that we did create on Kyber DMM. Essentially what that means in a nutshell, to break it down as simple as possible, those liquidity pool tokens are locked for 6 months. For us to remove that liquidity, which would really make it difficult for you guys to trade, if we did remove it, it would make the market swing very high all the time, quite crazily. If we remove that, we would need to have access to those LP tokens, but we've locked it for 6 months, which really gives you guys the confidence that that liquidity is going to be there and locked there for at least 6 months. After 6 months, the volumes are going to be far crazier. There's going to be a lot more people in the ecosystem, and it's likely not going to be needed all that much. However, for now, it just gives you guys that stability, that confidence that there will be the ability to trade there generally whenever you want. So we just wanted to make you guys aware of that. It is obviously public as well. If you wanted the link to that, you can ask us. I think it possibly is in the white paper. If it isn't, just ask in Discord. They're able to provide it to you as well. And then finally, on a little note, we have seen for some reason there were some VCs who weren't able to get into our round, in our private round that we held a little while ago. For some reason, they think it's wise, I assume, to make the token price tank so that they can get in. They didn't get into our private round, and they're spreading some FUD saying that we're selling the team tokens. As you guys know, we're full of transparency, so if you wanted to, we just added it to the white paper as well. But we have the entire wallet addresses of all the team's tokens, all of the allocations, absolutely everything. We will create a website as well, or probably the community will, where all of the tokens and the contracts are tracked, so you can see any movements of any wallets. We've also got all of the private round investment wallets there as well, so if there's any investors moving funds, you are able to track that if you wish. But yes, everything is public for you guys, so if people are spreading FUD, probably come and ask us first. We're able to provide evidence on, honestly, 100% of things. We're completely honest with you guys. So yes, if you have any concerns or any worries, you see anything being spread around, just come and reach out to us first before you do make the assumptions, because we'd be glad that you gave us the opportunity even just to clear it up for you. And that summarizes this one, guys. Hopefully you are excited to get breeding. So that will be on November 15th. Everything is on track for game launch. As you guys know, we were planning for this Friday. The game is actually looking good to launch this Friday, but we decided to delay it until the 15th, which is just next Monday, so it's not really a delay that far. The reason we did that was because we want to make sure that it is 100% ready to go. The more testing the team has, the better release is going to be for you guys. So get excited. On that launch day, you will actually have renting, you will have racing, which is the play to earn model. So people always ask, will there be play to earn on the beta game launch? Absolutely yes. The racing is 2D, I should probably mention. So breeding, racing, trading, gifting, that type of stuff. You won't have a swapping mechanism just yet. We will introduce that into the future. There will be breeding. Hopefully I haven't repeated anything else. Breeding, racing, marketplace, and renting will all be functioning on day one. I probably did miss something. I just can't remember it off the top of my head, but get excited for game launch, guys. It's not far away. This is going to be a big one. This is really where the momentum starts to get a little bit crazy. So I guess live it up for the days that we have at the moment while it's not too insane, because it's about to get quite insane. We love you guys. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.